Here we go. So it's more interesting than the other ninjas because you actually have to run some sort of anti-fatigue package. You enjoy as a concept. I'm not going to go the full thing with like all 4 pots because you just don't need that much oomph. But you want a little bit of something. Next thing, obviously, is that the potions are blue, which means if she doesn't try and fatigue you, you kind of just do some trading out rather than actually play them. But see where we go. So we've got momentum and a null room here. We'll absolutely be able to block it, but it's not about that. It's about putting a card in the bin. I was wondering, do I arsenal it and get rid of the shelter? But that's not a card in the bin because this does not vanish. Nice new feature. We like this. They are leaking damage, so this has been worth it. Getting 4 points out of my turn one when my turn one's really just about building some board state. Graveyard is board state. I'm not taking any questions on that. So annoyingly close to being good. If that was another blue, it'd be super. Need that because we've got to give them something. What it is. The question is, what do we do with that? The temptation here is to take most of this. Question being, do I take all of it and use the time to? Interesting choices. Basically, I'm in a pretty good position. I think I take the full 7 now to get rid of it. Don't need it. They want to do is throw that pulsing ether at them. Taking 2 cards for blight prevention is. I don't know why they didn't play the shelter though, rather than pitch it. Generally speaking, we just take the Kadachis because there's not much point doing much else with them. Given how little they have in hand and such, I think we're going to give them something here. The Felling is weirdly probably the better choice here, but I don't want to They're almost certain to not throw that at me. It feels bad blocking fillings outright, but my play line is Command and Conquer, and the pulsing ether can be turned into value when they arsenal lifts, like they're about to. This is one of these we saw it coming kind of things. This maximizes cards in the bin and cards actually played. Well, mental block it because we have nothing else to do with that really. We could use it as part of like a big send on the next turn, but I just don't like the value of that proposition. We could E-strike getting rid of the group bound and then the tilling for 6. It's like 11 damage. Yeah, it's not awful, but good. Again, happy to take ones off these Kadachi because got life gain. Basically shaping up to be perfect. We've got the root bound here to play. We get our first decompose in. This decompose is always the important one. To note here is that this should be a momentum hit. Don't care though, because they can't do anything with that card. I'm sort of being quite careful on I can let the ones through because you can't arsenal a card unless that card in arsenal happens to be a useful instant. That's weird. Oh, it was because I prevented the first one, wasn't it? Yeah, they were only on 2, so yeah, even easier. But yeah, I thought that it's confusing sometimes, right? Confusing when you're not paying enough attention. Me saying wrong things sometimes is just a byproduct of me, talking for the camera because I can't sit here in complete silence, or the video would be very dull. I latch onto something that I kind of think is happening, realise about 30 seconds in that I'm talking about the wrong thing. Um, Getting more and more blocky, which means we probably are going to want to try and finish them with combos at this rate. I think that's where this game will go. And here really comes down to, do I want to use like this crown up or something to try and fix this, or do I just take the little hit? And I think I just take the little hit. Or this is in for a full block and then re-arsenal this. Get like 3 value out of those 2 cards if I the shelter, and then I could have had a random card off the ponder, but you just don't know if the ponder card's going to break. It could have been drawing another scour, which it could have been okay because we've got the but use that shelter up like that because they've not got a high pressure turn, and we can just block out the Kodachi like that. If the second Kodachi wants to come in for 1, I don't care. Keep this full hand at this point. To trade some more life out if I can arsenal a Cadaverous and throw a Burn Bear at their face. That's like a nice time. Well, we're just taking. Question here is, which of these 2 things do I play? I think I just go for the Tilling because the Burn Bear is better in the arsenal. The Decompose is nice because it drags me up to a point where Bark Skin works, which is kind of part of what I'm thinking on here. The triple banish because it leaves 1 Earth card in there. This will give me a second, so I can definitely still decompose. And if I find a 3rd Earth card in the meantime, I can jump up to my ability being online, and that extra bit of pressure is actually very, very helpful into this stuff because it doesn't really force damage through. It forces cards out of her hand because she's trying to play a mid-range game into me. Forcing them to trade things with me is just always the preferable place to be. Do this time because we have no way out of it. The root rampant is annoying this turn, but we could block out and use it to play the command and conquer, for example. That would be fine. More about these, so we can give them the plough because we're not going to play the plough for sure. 8 ones. So you would say. Question is, what do we do about it? The other thing is we give them the crown. Anything else? The awkward because I don't know what I'm going to get off the top from the crown. It's like we could give them the stone wall at this point as well. We have options to get to that 9, but it's just not good, and we kind of want to use the crown up and maintain value, but we really want to block with something else, but we don't know what to block with. Keeping those 2 is good, I guess. That's probably play. We'll go with that, and we'll keep the stone wall because we don't need it. Look at damage, but we get to we throw a CNC. It doesn't do anything, but it's damage. Pressure is important. A little bit sad that I've not found any healing potions yet. somewhere, but life totals are creeping down a little more than I wanted, and the rampants keep jumping in at the worst possible time. Been a lot of the life gain yet, so that's going to start sneaking up at some point. Still, those could actually just slowly becoming a pain in the ass because they are nibbling the life total down. Feelable. Given the autumns, given the strike, but that's fine. That's probably not a bad choice. Let's see what the Verdance ping actually does, basically, as a starting point. Making it so they're wanting to play a big hand, which is fine. It's going to be a longer game and it will be useful. This is useful. I think we'll just go for. That's just still fit for 6. I think it's better than taking the one off the twinning. It's also not bad for like baiting a CNC because they, they will try and take it. Keeping the life totals fairly steady, which is the important thing. And them being walked down as fast as me is fine as long as I get to a combo at some point before I die. This is a good hand. I would like to keep all of this hand if I could. We can't, we'll sack off the Everbloom and the Plough or something, but we like high value. Just ignoring that, we just have to take it, I think. Whatever comes next is the scary thing. There's the CNC. We don't care about the tilling, we just care about the fact that we've got this felling to protect. So don't want to take the full 6 is the problem, even though I'm going to gain 3 back. To get a heartbeat played out, but I've got to get them off the picture. Interesting game because my draws have been, I would say, a little bit weird, which is fine, but it is allowing them to kind of creep up on me. Like I'm nowhere near like being able to throw an actual finish at them, and I am gently falling behind on life. This feels like a very meta hate choice. It is what it is. We'll take it. Like it's switched the hand pressure massively. We found a healing potion. But, a little weird is what do we do with this? Do we just do some blocking or do we do some sending? If we take the one, I think the next Hitachi will be coming. We're going to give them this red tilling. Play the plough. We're going to plough our own blue tilling to get rid of it. Doing it, so we don't need to do the plough. Bit of blocks that. We can get the healing potion set up. That gets us on our way to, the real game plan. They get to keep a hand, so they're back on pressure, but desperately need to find some life gain though. Wait, we're going to do that, I think. This is a point of overblock, but it means that one of these can eat their next swing. TNTs are very annoying. This is the last one though. I think we just do that. Not very exciting. We get no value from our hand because TNC doesn't let us use the root bounds, which is, my biggest gripe with it is that, you can't play your card. Oh, well, I'll just be IP'd. Not a bad hand though. There's a healing potion. But as you can see, I'm a good chunk of life behind, and I've got to find a way to get aggressive on their hands now, which is my bigger problem. Definitely going to force damage this turn because they have like a 5-card hand. It's kind of my problem. I've got to somehow get a combo in before this all goes wrong, and I don't think that's happening. Didn't get much out of that hand at all, which is, great for me. I need to set this up, which is like really low pressure, and I don't like this at 13 life, but I've got to get a couple in play or I will never get the finish. Just take everything they throw at us here pretty much because we've got some work done. Okay. Trying to get things out of their hand at this point. Cover a bit of life, which is really helpful when we get to felling them. It's an interesting game because it's so tight. You know, I had a couple of bad times in the middle of this that have really messed with it. Stabilizing on this, that's kind of the important thing. The catch up turn in terms of like they're either blocking or eating a load of damage, and both is fine for me. We've seen these, aren't I think I've seen two. But no, more Arsenal. I've seen whatever agency card is called. I'm not actually that scared of it. This is good because they've got nothing left basically. Means I have a turn to just do what I want with if I draw a decent hand. Um, Gain a lot of life back is the thing. I think I just like that hit. Soon they choose Rampant, and then I Arsenal. This is like one of these quick evaluate. You know, does my hand get bricked by this in any way? No. Kind of things. There's no single card in my hand that they can name that stops the turn. I just pitch that card. Yeah. See? But that's going to go into Arsenal. Be pitched. Probably into Arsenal. I'm doing this. Out of the hand, and this is kind of what I care about the whole way through this. Laying off pressure because I want as little pressure coming back as I can because that preserves my life total while I get this sort of last bit of setup in. I'm from a turn or two turns away from second rampant, and obviously I've lost one to the untimely weakest link. Weakest link. We're just taking it, which means they can going to clearly try and do some offensive stuff. What's healing potion? Don't really have time for it is the awkward thing, but that's also fine because we don't need to have them. These just get to hit. Like blocking with fruits because we can. We do need to block. The question is, how do we block it? Still have arcade spells in the deck. absolutely do this. Gives me some good mileage. Feeling that's the interesting bit, right? Yeah. Use go again. We're taking a little bit of risk here, but not too much risk, I think. Still got 4 cards, so they're still going to threaten a lot. They got that healing potion, and that means this is a done deal. There's probably a kill close enough to it. Probably just fruits and potions and what's enough damage. It really falls under how much can I take? Of everything. Die. Forced into doing this rampant life at this point, which is fine. I'd love to have got the double up, but the deck conspired against me. What's left in here should be enough to finish. The chance that I don't get the arcane damage off the top and it's actually like 5 cards deep, and that'd be very sad, but we'll see. Say this is not enough to just kill them, so we're good. We stacked this properly. Should close it. But yeah, pretty tight game. You know, I had to really fight back out of that one, to be honest. But you know, you can sort of see how Verdance does it with the value. I do think the Ara games are some of the more interesting ones because it's 2 different mid-range decks trying to wear each other out. And it's not just a foregone conclusion all the time because you know they can, as you see there, get it very very close. And you know I had to make interesting decisions to get out of that. If I'd just tried to play for best combo, I think I'd have died. If I'd given up early on the combos, I wouldn't have killed them. So Yeah, and again, just things like knowing that that burn bear went early and sort of knowing roughly where it was kind of important. Did think I was going to see another rampant earlier than I did. I thought it was a turn before. But that's the problem with like trying to count the pitch stack, right? Like I know roughly where things are, but I don't know exactly because I'm not invested enough to like waste permanent memory on that. I can keep a fairly decent count, but not a perfect count. I think I could do a perfect count, but it would slow the game down a lot. It would occupy a lot of my headspace, which I don't like. Yeah. Why I lack the will of a warrior and will never be a champion. But yeah, hope that was an interesting game for you. I will see you in the next one.